Hello everyone. Let us see how to select the subject with 11 different methods in Photoshop. So let us start. We'll see how we can select the subject in different methods. We have 11 different ways of selecting the subject. Here are the 11 different methods. Means we can also say 11 different tools. So we can select using the simple lasso tools, and then we have the latest selection tool, which is object selection tool. We have quick selection tool, magic wand, and we have options remove background. So this is useful if you want to separate the background and the subject. And we also have an option to directly select the subject. And then we have a mask option. With mask also we can select the subject. And then we have a pen tool, and last but not the least, we have color range. So now we will see how to select the subject with all these options. So let's move on. So first we will start with the simple selection tool, which is the lasso tool. So here we have the lasso tool. The keyboard shortcut for lasso tool is L, and you can access all the three lasso tools using the Shift L command. So I am selecting the lasso tool, and how we select with the lasso tool? See, we have to start at a point and we have to draw a boundary around the subject. That's it. Means we have to start at a point and we have to end at the same point. So simply just draw a selection, just like how you draw a boundary around your photograph with a pencil. So this is how we select the subject. And once the subject is selected, we can place the subject in a empty document, and we can scale it. See, we have done a simple selection with the lasso tool. We have some disadvantages also with the lasso tool. The thing is, sometimes when we are selecting a subject with the lasso tool, our hand might shake. So because our hand shakes a lot while selecting, we won't get a perfect selection. So we can fine tune the selection by using add to selection and subtract from selection methods. So let me demonstrate. So we'll select the lasso tool, and let me create a rough selection here. So here we have a selection. So you can see it is not a perfect selection, and the subject is not perfectly selected here. In some places the selection is inside the subject, in some places the selection has gone out of the subject. So how we can fix this? So we can use these options. Here we have the add to selection and subtract from selection. So first let us see what is subtract from selection. We can just select the subtract from selection, and we can remove certain unwanted areas, okay, that are not part of the subject. So here we have the background. Okay, so we'll just subtract the background from the active selection. So we can just draw a selection like this. That's it. And we can improve the selection around the subject, something like this. We can also use a keyboard shortcut, that is Alt. We can just hold Alt on the keyboard and then simply draw a selection. So by using Alt, we are actually subtracting the selection from the active selection. So here also we don't need this extra selection. So selection that is outside the subject, that is not flowing or running over the subject. Right. And we can also do add to selection. See, here the selection is little bit inside the subject. So we lost some of the important areas of the subject. So we have to add this area to the active selection. So how we can do that? We can simply just click on this add to selection button, and then we can add this selection to the existing selection. So like this, and we can zoom and we can also fine tune. Here the selection is a little bit outside the subject, so we can hold Alt and subtract the selection. So in the same way, there is a shortcut for add to selection, that is we can hold Shift and just add to the selection. So just Shift and Alt. Alt to subtract, Shift to add. So here we have to select Shift. We have to hold Shift. And we can just zoom into the subject, and then we can check where we can improve the selection. So here we can use Alt, and we'll just select the Lasso Tool and improve the selection. And here we will use Shift. The selection which was initially very rough, we have improved it. So here we have to use Alt, and here we have to use Shift. So just we have to just do it, and then now the entire subject is selected. Right. So once this selection is completed, then we can simply select the move tool, and then we can move the subject into a document. That's it. So this is how we can select using the Lasso tool. And in case you think you have sharp edges, you can also apply feather to the subject. So to apply feather, we can use Shift plus F6 as keyboard shortcut, and then we can put a small value in this feather radius input field. And now we will just move this subject into this document. So this is how we can select with the Lasso tool. This is a simple and a basic selection tool. It may not be a great tool for perfect selections. There are more tools to follow, but we can quickly select a subject using the first Lasso tool. The next selection tool is Polygon Lasso tool. Just below the Lasso tool, we can find Polygon Lasso tool. So selecting the subject with Polygon Lasso tool is similar to that of the first Lasso tool, but the only thing is it is comparatively slow. So let me demonstrate. So here is the Polygon Lasso tool, and you have to create points in this way. You cannot just directly draw a selection. You have to slowly create points and create a selection. Even though it is time consuming compared to the first Lasso tool, it is more accurate compared to the first one. So just we have to complete the selection in this way. So we have now selected the subject with Polygon Lasso tool. Just we will check the output. We'll drag here. So this selection is completely done with Polygon Lasso tool. Let's select a different image using the Polygon Lasso tool. So we'll select this subject. So here I am selecting Polygon Lasso tool, and just we can simply click and keep moving along the subject, along the edges of the subject. And one thing we have to remember, in case we got wrong somewhere, as we keep moving along the edges of the subject, we can use backspace to just go backwards, and we can start from the point where we think the selection is all right. So this is how we can select with Polygon Lasso tool. So also one more thing is, in case we did not get a perfect selection with Polygon Lasso tool, means just like the first lasso tool, in case the selection goes a little bit outside the edges of the subject or a little bit inside the edges of the subject, you can do the same thing that you have done with the first lasso tool. That is, you can use add to selection and subtract from selection to improve the selection. So just simply hold Alt and remove the selection, and hold Shift and add to the selection. I have done this using the first lasso tool, and you can also do with the same with the Polygon Lasso tool, right? So this is how we have selected the subject, and here we can just zoom in, and just we can improve the selection over here just by holding Shift, that is add to selection, right? And we can also check the output. We'll just open our document, and we'll just select the subject, and we will drag it and release it in this empty document. So we can check the output. So this is how we can select with the Polygon Lasso tool. So the next selection tool is Magnetic Lasso tool. See, the name of this lasso tool is magnetic. So what does a magnet do? So magnet will stick to any metal. So here also magnet sticks to the edges of the subject. So it will make our selection very fast. We can quickly select any subject using Magnetic Lasso tool. So we are gradually improving the selection. We are gradually finding a better ways to select. Let's select the Magnetic Lasso tool, and see, most of the job is done by the Magnetic Lasso tool. All you have to do is just get to the edge of the subject, just click once and keep moving your mouse. As you keep moving your mouse, the Magnetic Lasso tool automatically sticks to the edge of the subject. So this will make selecting any subject with Magnetic Lasso tool very easy and fast. So see here, and I have come till the end of the document, the edge of the document. Here the Magnetic Lasso tool may not identify the subject because the document is cut off here. Magnetic Lasso tool is unable to find the edge of the subject, so it will do some kind of rough selection, so it will not find the edge of the subject. So here the selection got messed up, but then we will complete the selection by clicking onto the point where we have started. So we can see here. So it has done a perfect selection on top, but at the bottom it has failed a little bit. It is unable to find the edge of the subject. So this is one thing we have to remember. The only reason is, see, it is able to differentiate between the background and the subject inside the document, but when it came to the end of the document, it is unable to find the edge of the subject. To fix this problem at the bottom, we can just to use shift and add to the selection. That's it. So comparatively, compared to the other two lasso tools, the selection with magnetic lasso tool is very fast. So we can simply move this subject into this document. We will try to select this elephant using magnetic lasso tool. So to access magnetic lasso tool using a shortcut, you can simply use shift and L. Currently the active selection tool is the lasso tool. You can hit shift L 2 times and now you can see the magnetic lasso tool, and it appears with a magnet symbol or icon, right? So just zoom the image and select the magnetic lasso tool and start near the trunk of this elephant and continue to move along the edges of the elephant. So the rest of the job is done by magnetic lasso tool. So if you got some problems here, you can just use backspace, right, and then continue. So we got near the leg of the elephant and we will just proceed. You need to proceed carefully, right. So the magnetic lasso tool is actually helpful in selecting such complex subjects like this elephant. That's it. So we did a good job, but we did lose some of the important parts of the elephant. So let us fix them. We will just zoom into the image. We'll check whether where we have actually lost. See, we lost near the trunk. So what I will do is, instead of using the magnetic lasso tool, I will use the lasso tool and simply hold shift and add to the selection, right. And also we lost over here. See, here the magnetic lasso tool is unable to differentiate between the background and the subject because the colors are almost identical. The color of the background and the color of the subject are almost identical. So again, simply hold shift and select the task, right. So in this way we can improve the selection. If you have done the same selection using the lasso tool or the polygon lasso tool, it could have taken a lot of time for you. So it is very time consuming if you try to select the same elephant with the polygon lasso tool or the lasso tool. So for these images, so the best option is magnetic lasso tool, right. So now I have completed the selection. So what we'll do is, see, every time we are actually dragging the image into an empty document, but this time we will drag this image into a different background instead of empty document. So simply just drag this elephant into this forest. So here we have a forest image, something like an elephant walking in forest, something like this. And you can also duplicate and create a family of elephant or a herd of elephants, something like this. Simply hold Alt and drag so that you can create duplicates of these elephants. Right. So this is how we can select using the magnetic lasso tool. And also in case you want to give some feather, you can also give feather to the selection created with the magnetic lasso tool. So simply open the feather selection dialog, and to open the feather selection dialog you can use Shift plus F6, or a better way is simply activate any of the selection tools, lasso tool or any of the selection tools, and simply right click inside the selection and you can find the feather option in case you forgot the shortcut Shift F6. This is also a way to apply feather to the selection. So we'll give some 6 and simply move the elephant inside this forest image. You can see the soft edges around the elephant. So these are the lasso tools. But now we will be proceeding towards better selection tools. The tools that we are going to now cover are much better than the lasso tools. Let's see what are the next selection tools. We will now see quick selection tool. See, the name itself says quick. So it means with this selection tool we can select the subject very fast and also accurate. So let us select this subject using quick selection tool. The moment you select quick selection tool, you can see one icon here, and there is a plus symbol with a circle around. So this is the symbol of quick selection tool. And in case you can't see this symbol or icon, check your keyboard. If the caps lock is on, you may not see the icon. Right. So once you have selected the quick selection tool, all you have to do is just draw from the top to the bottom portion of the subject. Just to drag a selection from top to the bottom portion of the subject. See, it has done the job. See, we have quickly selected the subject, and if you zoom, see, we can see some unwanted areas here. So we can remove these or subtract these areas simply by holding Alt. Just by holding Alt we can remove the unwanted areas, and also we need to select the portion in between his hand and body. So we'll just do the same thing, just use Alt and select. Right, and just we need to use Alt and Shift. That's it. We can fine tune it, and also we can use the lasso tool simultaneously to improve the selection. Right. See how quickly we have selected the subject, and we also need to do some selections near on his face. So just we'll use Shift to add to the selection, and here we will use Alt to subtract from the selection. That's it. So it's very fast. So we have quickly completed the selection. And now we can actually drag this image into another document. So just see here. and in case you think that you have selected some unwanted portions of the image, say just delete them. Right. We can put this person in any other background also, or any other image. So let's open some other image. So we can select this ground image, and simply we can drag this person into this ground. Just scale it down. And we can just improve the selection. That's it. So we have done the selection very fast, and also the selection is accurate. So this is the advantage of quick selection tool, and most of the time I do selections using quick selection tool. One of the quick ways to select a subject with quick selection tool is just activate the quick selection tool, and at the top you can find this option, select subject. This is the fastest way to select any subject. Just with one click, Photoshop will use artificial intelligence procedure and identify the subject in the background and automatically create a selection around the subject. So we will just see how it works. I am just clicking this select subject button, and see, within no time Photoshop has done a brilliant work. It has created a selection around the elephant. But let me tell you one thing, it has missed some of the important areas of the subject, and we have to manually fix those areas. So we'll just zoom into the image, and if you check here, it has missed some portions, and we have to manually select. We can use the Lasso tool also, or we can do with the quick selection tool also. Right. So here it has missed the tusk. So we'll simply hold shift and add to the selection. Right. But it will save a lot of our time. Just with one click, Photoshop has saved a lot of our time. Right. See, I have selected the subject, and you can move the subject to any other background. So we'll just move it to the same forest background. That's it. And we'll try to select this subject using the option select subject. Let us see whether Photoshop is able to find where the subject is in the background. Just click on this button, select subject. That's it. It has done a brilliant work. See, if you zoom into the image, you can also see it has subtracted the area in between his legs. Although it has not done completely, but it has done, it has subtracted most of the area. The rest of the area we will subtract ourselves using the Lasso tool. So something like this. So we can fine tune this. That's it. So it has saved a lot of our time, and we can place this guy in any other background. We can also place him in this forest, someone like a ghost or something, whatever you imagine. Right. So this is quick selection tool, quick and easy way to select the subjects. Now we'll move on to the next selection tool, and that is object selection tool. This tool is the latest tool in Photoshop, and this tool is only available from 2020 version. And in case you are using a version before 2020, this tool, object selection tool, is not available. So now we'll see how to select subjects with object selection tool. So the object selection tool, it is a little bit a tricky selection tool. See, in this image we have 3 spoons. So which is the spoon that we are trying to select? We don't know which spoon we are trying to select, and even object selection tool doesn't know which of the 3 spoons have to be selected. So what object selection tool will do is, it will give us an option. So you can see mode here. In mode we have 2 options, lasso and rectangle. So we can select any one of them. Let us see this rectangle option first. So by using the rectangle option, we can select any one of the spoons. So if we want the small spoon to be selected, we need to just draw a selection with the rectangle option of object selection tool. Just draw a selection around this small spoon and release the mouse. The moment you release the mouse, automatically the selection snaps to the edges of this spoon, and it has done a nearly a perfect job. Maybe it has missed in some places over here, and we can then use Alt and just subtract that area. See, that's it. Now the small spoon is selected, and we can take this spoon to any other document, something like this, right? And let us say if we want to select the small spoon and the big spoon here. So what we can do is, again we will select the object selection tool and we will draw a selection by holding shift. By holding shift we will draw a selection around this big spoon, and then we will release the mouse. The moment you release the mouse, the selection snaps to the edge of the subject or the spoon. See, in this way we have selected these 2 spoons, and if we want to select this middle one, again hold shift and draw a selection around this spoon. That's it. Now these 3 spoons are selected. Just simply drag it and place it wherever you want, and we can also select this subject with the same object selection tool, and here object selection tool is able to identify where the subject is in the image. So we will first activate the object selection tool, and this time we will not select the rectangle option in the mode list. We will select the lasso. So we will select the lasso option, and then we will roughly create a selection around this elephant. Just a rough selection. And now the moment you release your mouse, the selection snaps to the edge of the elephant. See, this is another easy way of selecting. But remember, object selection tool is only available in 2020, 2021 and 2022 versions of Photoshop. And it has done a brilliant job, and even though it has missed some parts of the image, so what we can do is to fix, we just need to zoom into the image and just identify the places where it has missed. So again we will activate the same object selection tool. We will use the same lasso option, and then we can hold shift and just draw a selection. So we can see how it is improving. Right. So here also it has missed the task. So we will just draw a selection and then fix it. So we can check all the places where the object selection tool has missed, and we can fix the selection. So I am holding shift and selecting, not with the lasso tool but with the object selection tool. That's it. And near the tail, so we can see we need to subtract this area. So again I will select the object selection tool. I will keep the option or keep the mode as lasso, and then by holding Alt I will just draw a rough selection. So we can see it has done a nice job. In case you think it has missed some places, we can just go back to the first lasso tool and then simply we can subtract. That's it. So this is how we can select subjects with object selection tool. And just we will fine tune this selection. I think we have missed near the trunk, right? Oh, just a minute. Right. So now we can move this elephant inside any other background. So something like this, right? And this image we will try to select with object selection tool. So we'll just activate the object selection tool, and then I will use the mode as lasso, and I will roughly create or draw a selection around this subject and then release the mouse. That's it. It has selected. And in case you want the object selection to subtract the area in between his legs, so what we can do is keep the object selection tool active and hold Alt and then just draw a selection in between his legs. That's it. The moment you release, see, it has done a perfect job. And you can fine tune the selection using either object selection tool or the normal regular lasso tool. So just you can hold shift and just add to the selection. That's it. So this is object selection tool. And one good thing about object selection tool is, even in object selection tool we can find select subject, just like in quick selection tool. So if you just click on this select subject option, it will automatically select the subject, and it has also subtracted the area in between his legs. So we can see here. So this is one good thing about object selection tool. Right. Now we'll move on to the next selection tool. So the next one is magic wand. Magic Wand is a special selection tool. The speciality of Magic Wand is it will not directly select the subject. We will be selecting the background and then we will be inverting the selection and then we will be selecting the subject. An indirect way of selecting the subject. How Magic Wand works is it will first check the colors in the background. For example, in this image we can see green color. We can see shades of green color. There is a dark green in some places. There is light green in some places. So when we try to select the background with Magic Wand, here Magic Wand shows an option, that is tolerance. So what is tolerance? So tolerance currently has a value of 36. We will keep the tolerance 0 here. So the tolerance will determine how much of a particular color shade we are trying to select, or how much color Magic Wand is going to tolerate. So here we have green color and also the shades of green color, the light green and dark green. So right now the tolerance value is 0. With the tolerance value 0, if you just click on this green background, a very small area is selected. You can click in any other part of the background. Only a very tiny portion of the background is selected because the tolerance value is 0. If you bump up the tolerance, if you increase the tolerance value, let's say we'll keep it to 20. And now if you click, see, now the selection area is increased. Now the selected area got increased. So as you keep increasing the tolerance, more and more area or more and more color shades are going to be selected. So how we can use this technique to select the subjects? So what we'll do is we'll keep the tolerance value to 15 and then simply click anywhere in the background. See, let us not click over the subject. We will have to click over the background. We will have to click on the background. So now the tolerance value is 15. Let's keep it to 18. See? Now a bigger area, a larger area is selected. And now we can increase the tolerance even further, but instead what we'll do is we will hold shift and add the areas that we have missed using the Magic Wand. See, for example, we have not included this area to the selection. So we'll just hold shift and click. So in this way we can select the entire background. See, we have not selected the subject, we have selected the background. Now all we have to do is invert the selection. So what will happen if we invert the selection? We will be selecting the subject. So to invert the selection, all you have to do is go to the select menu and select inverse. You can also use the keyboard shortcut Shift Ctrl plus I. That's it. Now the subject is selected. And we can drag the subject to the other document. And we will try to select some other image using the Magic Wand. So we'll select the Magic Wand and we'll keep the tolerance initially to 0 and we'll just see what happens. See, here we are trying to select the background, but right now a very small area is selected. We will increase the tolerance to 30. And the advantage in this image is the background is having only one particular color, that is white color. It is not having a mix of colors. So it's very easy to select the subject in these type of images. So we'll just click over the background. So see, it has almost selected the entire background. We'll keep the tolerance value to 40 and then we'll click again. See, now the entire background area is selected. Now all you have to do is inverse the selection, Shift Ctrl plus I. That's it. Now you can move the subject to any other document or in any other image or to any other image. So we can keep it here. That's it. So the tolerance in Magic Wand will determine how much of a particular color shade we are supposed to select. And like in quick selection tool and object selection tool, even the Magic Wand is having an option select subject. So we can use the select subject option from Magic Wand tool also. This is exactly the same. But in these type of images, Magic Wand is not a good option because here the background is too complicated. Background is having too many different types of colors. So Magic Wand is a better option if the background has similar type of colors, such as light green and dark green or light blue and dark blue, in that way. Till now we have seen 6 different selection tools to select the subject. There are some more simple and easy ways to select the subject. What we'll do is, we will unlock the background. See here, we will the background has a lock, so we will unlock the background and we'll go to Windows, and in Windows we can find properties. So in properties we have an option, remove background. This option will be active only if you unlock the background. If there is a lock and if there is a background layer, this option will not be available. So you have to unlock the background. Just double click on the layer, the background will be unlocked. And now in properties we can find this option, remove background. If you click on this remove background, Photoshop will use artificial intelligence and it will identify the subject and the background and it will remove the background. See, here we are able to select the girl by removing the background, and we can take the girl in any other image, or if we want we can place her in a empty document, something like this. So we will try on another image. See here. Here also we know what is the subject. This girl is the subject. So I have unlocked the background and then just go to properties and click on remove background. See, it has done a very excellent job. It has removed the background. And here what we can do is, we can actually drag this forest background and we can keep it behind this girl. So as though this girl is present in the forest. So this is a quick way of selecting the subjects by removing the background. And here also we can see the same option, select subject. So in case you don't want to remove the background but you want to select the subject, you can click on this button, select subject. it will select only the subject. See, that's it. So number of ways are there to select the subjects. Mask is the next way of selecting the subjects. In this image, we can see a girl with a candle. I will use the mask technique to select this girl. To use the mask technique, all you have to do is simply you can just click on the mask icon at the bottom of the layers panel, and we can see a thumbnail here. This thumbnail is the mask thumbnail and this one is the image thumbnail. So when the mask thumbnail is active, we need to select a brush, and we need to select a soft rounded brush. So after selecting the soft rounded brush, make sure that the foreground color is black. The way mask works is, if you paint with black, it will erase the areas in the image, or it will hide the areas in the image. And if you paint with white, it will reveal or show the areas in the image. So after selecting the brush tool, we will just paint with black color over the background. So we can see how the background is getting erased and only the subject is now visible. So we can simply paint black and remove the entire background. So if we remove the background, we are left with the subject. And in case you think you have removed some extra portions of the subject, or by mistake if you have removed some of the areas of the subject, you can get them back by painting with white. So something like this. See, I'm getting everything back here. So this is the way. So now only the girl is selected. And we can also invert. Let us say we want the background. Generally we don't need the background, but in case we want the background, we can inverse the mask thumbnail. The way to inverse the mask thumbnail is by simply hitting Ctrl+I. See, we have inverse the mask. Again we will inverse the mask, Ctrl+I. Right. Now we have selected the girl, and we can take any background here. Let us say we want this forest background, and we can just put the forest background behind this girl. See, as though this girl is in the forest, right? So the next selection tool is the pen tool. So to select with the pen tool, the first important thing is we have to keep the option here as path. Keep the option as path and start selecting. So the thing about pen tool is it is going to create points just like the Polygon Lasso Tool, but we can control these points. You simply have to trace this image. Here we are selecting this mushroom, so we just have to trace this mushroom, and you have to just drag every point, so it will create some handles. So with the handles we can fine tune the shape. So see here, and to select or to control this shape, we can use this direct selection tool, and we can just adjust these points, something like this. right. And we can also add extra points by using the add anchor point tool. The most important thing is we have to keep the pen tool option as path. We should not select shape. Shape is used to create different type of shapes. So that is not used for selecting the subjects. So always keep the option as path. Right. So here we can adjust these handles, both the handles, and we can see one thing here. See, when I am trying to move these handles, the path is changing on both the sides, top side and the bottom side. But we want it to change only on one side. For that we can use Alt. If you use Alt, see, now the path is changing only on one side. Means we have broken this handle. So here also, see, we can see the handles, two-sided handles, two handles, and if we want to break the handle, we just need to use Alt. So the handle is broken, right? So now we have selected this subject, and but we did not get the selection. We are still in the pen tool path mode. We have to turn the path into selection. For that we need to use a keyboard shortcut, that is Control Enter. That's it. Now we have made a selection, and we will simply use the move tool and move this image to any other document. So we can move it here. We can keep it wherever we want. So this is how we select with pen tool. So one last way of selecting subjects is by using color range. So where is color range? So color range is inside select menu. So go to select menu and just select color range. So if you select the color range, here we can see a dialog box. Here we have plenty of options, fuzziness, and here we can see an image where the subject is in white color and the background is in black color. So first what we'll do is we will unlock the background and we will go to the select and select color range. First we need to tell the color range which color we are going to select. Especially this technique of selecting the subject is useful if the background has a plain color. So in this image we are trying to select the bird and the background here is a plain blue color. So such images, for such images, this color range is very much useful. So all we have to do is simply use this eyedropper and pick the color first. We have to tell the color range which color we are picking. Just click here and the color range has picked the color, and here we have to control the fuzziness. Fuzziness is similar to that of tolerance that we have covered in Magic Wand. So if you try to reduce the fuzziness, see, the background area is shrinking. So what we need to do is we have to increase the fuzziness so that we can see one plain color, and right now the background has pure white color. It means now we have selected the background. We have not selected the subject. The subject is this bird. So in order to select that bird, we have to invert the selection. Here we have an option invert. Just if you click on that invert, see, now the bird is in white color and the background is in black color. It means currently the selection is around the bird. So the bird is selected and that is what we want. So simply click OK. See, with color range we can easily select the subject in case the background has a plain color or a simple shades of colors. such as light shade and dark shade of a particular color. So this wraps up different ways of selecting subjects. So I hope you like this tutorial. Please do subscribe, like, share, and if you have anything to say, do comment. See you again.